What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Real Junkies. I am your host, Farhan, here again with my man Vito, and we are deep in the summer movie season now. We're starting to get a lot of the projects and films that we've been excited about and talking about. They're finally getting released now. We're in the trenches with the summer movie season now, and we're coming to you with one Disclosure Day, directed by arguably the GOAT. I'm gonna say the GOAT. I mean, it's not like sports where you can just compare stats and rings and say like this person's better than this person definitively. But Steven Spielberg is arguably the GOAT when it comes to filmmaking. And some other names you could throw in there. You could throw a Spike. You could throw a Martin. You can throw those names out there. But Steven Spielberg to me is like class personified when it comes to film directing. And I'm not gonna say that he reaches his apex or his benchmark with this movie, but this does have a lot of the classic things that you love about Steven Spielberg films, and a lot of the classic camera angles and story techniques that you would associate with Spielberg are all present in this. This is a very much a Steven Spielberg project through and through from start to finish. Um, One thing to me that stood out the most in this movie, by far more than anything else, are the performances. That and Steven Spielberg's camera work. Those are like the two, if I had to describe the two best things, hands down, it would be those two things. I'm not going to get too deep yet into the performances piece because that also gets into a critique later, because I think part of the reason why these performances stood out so well is because the characters kind of lack depth. So the actors kind of had to work overtime to make them interesting, which they did, but they would have had more to work with. I think it could have ascended a little bit further as far as performances go. But for me, when you think about some of the classic Spielberg movies, like going back, if we were in the 80s or the 90s or just really any era, but specifically those eras, if you had any movie involving a creature, an alien, some weird looking thing that you need CGI to create, Steven Spielberg was on your short list of directors, and odds are he was number one on that list. He's given us some of the most iconic films in that category. When you talk about E.T., Jaws, Jurassic Park, like he kind of has the Mount Rushmore of those type of movies. So when I first heard about Disclosure Day, me personally, my expectations were through the roof, just because I know typically that's his bag. That's Steven Spielberg's bag, is when he's making these creature features, these movies about people from other planets or just monsters, or just, like I said, things you need CGI to create. And for me, then this is part of the reason why I'm very big on managing your expectations before you go into movies. Because look, Disclosure Day, overall, you're going to hear a good review here. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about this movie. I have some, but not a lot. But I think I walked out of this movie not as fulfilled as I would have liked, only because my expectations were, you talking alien movie directed by Steven Spielberg coming out in June. My brain goes Best Picture nomination immediately, right? Like that's the caliber I'm immediately placing this movie in. And I haven't seen it yet, which is part of the problem. So when I eventually, walking out the theater, when I actually saw it, I was like, it wasn't that. It's still good. Once again, it still has a lot of the classic Spielberg isms that you come to enjoy from a movie directed by someone of his caliber, but it didn't reach quite those heights that I had for it in my head. So that's why it's a lesson in managing y'all expectations, because this isn't that. Like, this is not going to be the crescendo of the 2026 movie season. I'm sure we're going to get some better films as the summer goes along. I'm looking at you, The Odyssey. But this wasn't quite that, for me at least. I don't know how you felt about it, but for me, it didn't quite hit that upper echelon that I think my brain had put it in before I had even seen it.
So I generally don't really pay attention to the directors until I watch the movie.
Mhm.
Because directors are hit and miss. And like you said Spielberg's the GOAT. He has some misses, but the
Oh, yeah.
majority of his films are most definitely hits. And before me and you were talking, and I said, it's a Spielberg movie. Like, he loves Tom Hanks. This nigga loves Tom Cruise too. He got a few of them. One of his most memorable movies, or most recent movies that I like, is probably the most memorable to me, is Ready Player One. Though, didn't realize he directed that at all.
Yeah,
Um,
he has so many, it's hard to
and
pick.
when you talk about special effects and I guess I don't want to say monsters, but the players are playing with avatars, and some
Mhm.
of their avatars are monsters. So I guess
Yeah.
you could say that, but like the way that he does special effects, he does a great job in that. I think one that really failed was that last Indiana Jones movie. People hated that shit.
I
Uh,
Am People. I Am People. I was
I
not a big
didn't
fan of
see it.
that
It
one
just looked.
either.
That's the one with Shia LaBeouf, right?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the most recent one, 'cause
Is
they made
one
a fifth
after
one.
that?
Yeah, they made a 5th one.
Is
They
Shia
made a
LaBeouf in
5th
that
one.
one too?
No, the Shia LaBeouf
Oh,
one is the worst one. I'll give you that. The
okay.
Shia LaBeouf one is worse than the most recent one, but neither one are great.
I didn't see the most recent one, but so again, so when you said let's watch this shit, I'm like, all right, I guess, man, I'll watch it.
Yeah,
But I didn't know. All I know is this movie's about aliens. I hadn't really seen the previews for it. When they came on, I just wasn't paying attention to it.
yeah.
I'm glad you recommended this one though because I mean I went in with like low expectations, so the only it was only one way to go was up,
Was up.
and you know it exceeded those expectations. I think, like you said, there isn't a lot of depth into these characters. Like we're kind of just thrusted into the story of Keller and
Yeah, Dr. Kellner and Margaret Fairchild, both played
Fairchild.
by Josh O'Connor, who I'm not as familiar with. I haven't seen a lot of the films he's played in prior to this. And then Emily Blunt, who needs no
Emily Blunt.
introduction, plays
So
Margaret Fairchild, who's a reporter. She steals the show in this. She has the best
You
performance
so
out of
I
anybody, in my
actually
opinion.
enjoyed his performance a little bit more. Her so
Really?
I think her performance was good because hers was more like his performance was more grounded. His characters was way more grounded than hers. Like, without getting into too many details, he's just smart in this.
Hmm.
Okay. He's just really smart. Um, Her character, which we seen in the preview, she starts doing some like she's like a cockroach making noises and shit. And I think she does like speak another language in one of these clips. So
She does end up
we
like randomly dropping Russian on people. Like
yeah,
she starts
so
speaking Korean randomly.
so
Yeah.
I think again, so that didn't really do anything for me. Like first of all, it was funny every time she did it though.
Yes.
I don't know if he intended it for it to be funny, but it was funny every single time she dropped some knowledge on somebody. But like I said, Josh O'Connor, his was a little better than me because it was so much more grounded. And I guess I'm trying to think back to the trailer that I barely paid attention to, so I don't give any
Honestly,
spoilers.
the
So
trailers didn't really give away too much. Some of the later trailers gave away more than I would have liked, so that's when I kinda
okay.
stopped watching all the I was like once I saw a trailer that showed me more than I wanted, I was like, "Alright, I'm done watching any promotional materials from this movie, I'm
I
done."
I guess what I could say is we know that Josh O'Connor's character, Dr. Daniel Kellner, he's on the run, okay,
Yeah.
and he has information that people want, okay.
Yes.
Now when the movie starts, we're like I said, we're in it,
Yeah, the
and
movie starts like
you know
the shit's already gone down, yeah.
it's a deal, a trade going down at the beginning of the movie, and you're like, "What the fuck? What is he talking about? Who is he talking
Mhm,
about?"
mhm.
I do want to take a brief pause and talk about these wrestlers and this white man with these braids.
I ain't gonna lie, I seen that and I was like, "It's the opening scene," but that
So,
is crazy.
but
I imagine these characters aren't gonna show up again, so I'm not gonna tweak too much, but
but
this
it's
is
crazy
crazy.
because the movie opens up with us getting our face stumped in by this wrestler.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it shows you the POV of whoever's getting stomped out. It's the
Spoiler
camera
alert, my
POV.
fault, dog.
I mean, it's
But
the opening scene, like,
I'm looking at it, I'm like, "Yo, this nigga got braids." I'm like, the only person I can think about it got braids is Jacob Fatu. So what? No,
that wasn't no
that's
Jacob
not a
Fatu.
that's not a Samoan. That's a white man.
What's
That's a
crazy is as soon as the camera opened, I was like, "Did they get Jacob Fatu for this?" And I was like, "Nope,
dog. That's
that man is
exactly.
Caucasian."
I seen the braids. I said, if they got Fatu, they got Fatu. Then
That would've been dope if they
okay.
did, I ain't gonna lie. That would've been hard.
But no, like you said, so I think I might not always like Spielberg scenes actually. But what he does a good job of is putting a cast together.
Yes.
He knows where to put people and where to place them. I didn't even recognize Colin Firth in this.
I'm
Did
about to
not
say he's
recognize
one of
him
the
at all.
he
And
honestly, to me, had the second best performance after Emily
and
Blunt, to be
he's
honest.
one of the main characters.
Yes.
I mean, he's the main antagonist of the movie, so he's the
Yes.
main character. It's three main characters: is Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, and then Colin Firth. And Colin Firth probably had, I think, and they do a good job. And I'll let you get into it.
Mhm.
They do a good job of splitting the screen time between these three characters.
Yes.
Usually we'll watch a movie and they be like, okay, well, okay, Emily Blunt took fucking 60% of the screen time, and then Josh O'Connor got 30, so
Mhm.
there's only 10 left for the bad guy. But I think they did a really good job of slicing it up to where it feels like a 30, 33 and a third,
Mhm.
and a third. They did a really good job in it. And I know, like you said, we don't get a lot of information about these characters. And that's why the acting feels good because it's being pulled out of them as the story goes on.
Mhm.
And most of the time, it doesn't feel forced.
But piggybacking off of that though, I'd say the performances are really holding a lot of the scripts together in this movie, in my opinion, right? But going into the story, and then I'll get deeper into the performances aspect. Josh, as you mentioned, Daniel Kellner, Josh O'Connor's character, he's stolen something from this shadow government agency,
Allegedly.
and allegedly he's stolen something on some WikiLeaks whistleblower type shit, and he's now on the run. The film starts with him on the run. He's trying to protect this thing he's stolen. It's the MacGuffin of the whole movie, essentially. And he's been on the run. We don't know for how long at this point, but the movie starts off and he's already him and his girlfriend Jane, who he has to rescue first and then is on the run. So the film kind of starts off with you trying to figure out, okay, what did he steal? What does he know? What is this piece of information? What is this object that this shadow government agency is so pressed about that they're willing to, attempt to murder people over? You know what I'm saying? And that kind of goes into the next stage of the story, which is Emily Blunt's character. And you don't really know exactly what's up with her yet. You just know some weird things are going on with her, and she herself doesn't really understand what's happening. She has this morning where she comes into contact with, I'll say, an animal, which animals are a key theme in this movie. And I'll get into that a little bit later because the CGI on some of them was not great, particularly the fox. Shit looked horrible.
There's a scene where there's a person, and I feel like it was a real person, and it looked like
Yeah.
CG.
Yeah, the animals were, like, noticeable, though, like, some of the animal CGI was like, y'all coulda finished that." But Emily Blunt's character she has this ability that if she it isn't really explained, she doesn't really understand it herself as a character, but she's able to essentially look at people and read them through and through, understand their past, what they're going through, be able to emulate and talk to them as if she's people from their lives, their family members, give them advice about problems they're dealing with in their life and how to solve them. Like, she's like the ultimate empath, essentially.
Imma say see, that I didn't think you was about to throw empath out there, but Imma say like, she's not psychic, but it feels like she's psychic in this movie.
Yes, essentially. But it's like psychic through like what people are going through. Like basically exactly what people are going through, right? And it's like down to the T. And we don't know how, but she is somehow connected to this broader conspiracy that's going on. And then Josh O'Connor's character is just connected off the fact that he's the one that stole the information. At least as far as what we know when the film starts, right? And to me, the film from there goes on a really good journey of shrouding a lot of its details in mystery,
Mhm.
but giving you just enough that you're still intrigued as it's going along. And to me, that's the best part, right? The first half of this movie was very strong because it plays up the mystery aspect, and it introduces a lot of very intriguing questions on all types of fronts. So you're very intrigued and drawn in by all the questions this film is presenting to you. Now, when you introduce a lot of really high level and interesting questions, as a movie, you got to have a payoff for that. Your questions have to justify, or your answers have to justify you dragging the audience along through this journey with all these different plot points and all these different questions and mysteries you're presenting. Does the film land on those? Yeah. You know what I'm
The
saying?
the
Well,
plane the plane again, I'm always trying to land a plane. This
yeah.
plane did not land for
Yeah,
Spielberg.
like the landing, the
But
takeoff and the plane ride was a great time though.
so
The
while you're talking
landing, yeah,
about, as far as time-wise, I didn't have a problem with the pacing this time. I did not have
the
a problem with
pacing
the
wasn't
pacing.
the
I
issue
felt
at
like
all.
the pacing was great. I'll say about 25 minutes of the movie went by before we knew anything though. But
Yes,
it wasn't, like, bad though. Like, generally, I'm like, "I don't know what the fuck is going on." In
but I'm
this
intrigued.
instant, we're not supposed to know what's going on. Like, generally, a character's asking another character what's going on. They're like, "Hey, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you. Hey, I want you to tell me what's going on. When I ask you, you gotta tell me." So, like, we
Yeah.
we we just don't fucking know, but they're
Mhm.
letting you know they're gonna tell you, and then there's a payoff then, but like you said, there's so many more there's so many bigger questions that we don't get an answer to.
Absolutely.
And I looked at oddly enough, I was the first person to bought my ticket, okay, for this movie.
Mhm.
When I get there, it's 2 old white ladies in my seats, all right?
In
So
your seat.
yeah, well,
Oh,
my seat and then there's one next to it. So
okay,
I'm like,
got
"All
you.
right, well, I scoot one over, sit there." Guess it's 2 people in there, right next to me. I'm
Mhm.
guessing they bo you know, I think the old lady just didn't know where the fuck they was at. But, when it got t and Imma jump ahead a little bit. When the
Okay.
credits rolled, I literally said, "They not about to do this shit. They not about to do this shit." And credits rolled, and I was pissed
Yeah.
because I don't see this as a movie that needs a sequel. Like, me and you talked prior, and this movie we know about, it's called Disclosure Day. Some shit gonna be disclosed
Self-explanatory.
on the day,
Yeah.
all right? And we
Yeah.
know it's about aliens.
Yeah.
So, but the whole movie is this person getting from point A to point B, this person getting from point C to point B, and then this person from going this way, this way, this way, this way to get to
Mhm.
point B.
Mhm.
So where all these characters collide at. That's the story. It's the journey of our characters getting there
Mhm.
and releasing this information. So we get, like you said, we get some information, but the payout is just not enough. And they do it like it feels like it should have been a Marvel ending. Like
Yeah.
that, it felt like a Marvel ending. like,
I
like
was
when
waiting for more when the credits rolled. Like, it ends very abruptly, and I was
very
like,
abrupt. Like when Tony
"Okay,
Stark said, "I
that's
am
it?"
Iron Man."
And
You
then just pitch black. But this
know?
this is even worse than that because at least "I am Iron Man" is like a final sentence, right? The way this movie ended, it was like a word, literally one word was said, and I was like,
and
and then it just rolled credits. I was like, I feel like there was supposed to be, like, more to that sentence, you know what I'm saying?
there's no end credit scenes. So
Yeah.
like
And I was
you
like, that
don't
was
get
literally it.
any more
Yes.
information. So like I guess that would be my biggest complaint about the movie is it didn't land it. And something told me as I was walking into this. 'Cause, like you said, the trailer really don't show much, and I'm sitting there thinking, I feel like I'm about to be pissed watching this movie because I'm really sick of watching movies where my fucking brain is rattling halfway all the way through the movie. So
Mhm.
Christopher Nolan's great at doing this. Tenet, Inception,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
name a few. So I'm thinking that's what this is gonna be, and it's not until the fucking end.
Mhm.
Again, every question that you have is answered throughout this movie,
Not everyone.
except
There's some plot holes in this bitch for sure.
except that really last one. And so,
Yeah.
and this is the thing. Like you said, there are some plot holes. So we know Kellner stole some information. When you look at what he has, um, and I'm not releasing this information to y'all, but he has like, would you say like 30 to 40 different hard drives?
He has a
And
lot of shit.
and these are high capacity hard drives, so, like,
Yes.
a lot of data. And then he has what we'll call a relic,
Yeah, that's a good
and
word for it.
he has a relic, so I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, "Yo, how the fuck did he get out of here with all this?
You feel me?
How
I was
how did
thinking
he
that. I was like,
sneak
he
this out of
escaped
the place?"
he escaped from a government agency with all this shit. Y'all let him
Well,
get out of here with all of this? Like, the amount of shit he had was kinda ridiculous.
I will say, it's not a government agency.
You're right, it's not a government agency, but it's okay, let me rephrase. The agency chasing them is technically not a government agency, technically,
They're a
but it is
private
government
company, but
adjacent.
they do a
It's
lot of government work.
it's
Um,
government adjacent, like, yeah,
so
it's very closely tied.
so
It's like
I
the
guess
government's first cousin, like,
I
it
guess
ain't
I do
far
have
off.
a few gripes about this movie, Doug.
Okay.
And one of them, a big one, is gonna be again. This company that he works for is technically it's a defense contractor,
Yeah.
and a lot of these defense contractors, they hire ex-military, special forces guys,
Mhm.
and gals, and
Mhm.
people that were in the military that served and did shit. And these motherfuckers were kind of dumb. And I know they
Yeah.
have to be dumb because the
Mhm.
script says they're dumb, but I don't think the script needed them to be dumb. I think he could have just been one step ahead of them the entire time. but
Yeah.
they're kind of dumb in this. There's a scene, spoiler alert, guys. There's a scene where they close in on him, and everybody is like facing the same direction. And I don't mean like they looking at this way. They're all looking this way.
Mhm.
And this nigga is able to sneak up on them and steal some shit. And I told you
Yeah.
what I wanted to bring up. I want to bring
Yeah.
up what a Foley artist. So
Mhm.
a Foley artist, they're basically sound effect guys or
Mhm.
people.
Mhm.
And but it's not like your traditional sound effects. Like these motherfuckers like walk around with like microphones and shit all day, just picking up sounds.
Mhm.
And that's how we got like the sound of the TIE fighters. They said the TIE fighter is the sound of a South African elephant layered over another South African elephant and then distorted. So they don't sound like elephants.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck is that? So I'm thinking about this as like I said, he's sneaking around and you hear every crunch that this nigga makes, and he's breathing so heavy.
Yeah.
Like, and when I say like you hear every crunch, this it's like this nigga is purposely hitting shit,
Yeah.
and none of these niggas
He's
still
not
hear
sneaking
him,
around
see
very
him,
well.
nothing. He's a
Yeah.
terrible sneak. It's like sneaking around in a video game, and because you're not right in front of them, you're stealthy.
Yeah.
That's how these motherfuckers were. They were the they were just dumb. And like
Yeah.
when you see the Colin Firth, what is it, Scandalin? His character's name?
Yeah, Nolan Scanlon, yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't expect them to be this terrible at their jobs.
Yeah. I would say, like, for one, to go to your point about these characters, like the government, or not the government, I'm sorry, the defense contract company, agency, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They, for a group that is trying so hard to prevent this secret from coming out, for a group that is trying so hard to keep things low key and stop this dude Kellner from whistleblowing on this particular thing, they do a lot of out loud shit, for lack of a better word.
A lot
Like,
of it. A lot
there's a
of it.
scene where niggas are driving through a house, and I mean literally through a house. There's a scene where niggas are shooting at a train in broad daylight.
That shit, I'm like, bro,
Like,
what?
I'm like, aren't y'all supposed to be like low key incognito, keeping this shit under the radar? We don't want people finding out what's going on here. Yet y'all are doing a lot of out in the open shit right now. That was like something that confused me. Like the tactics here ain't making sense. I feel like y'all want to be a lot more low key than this.
They were very loud, but
Yeah,
I for
very.
forgot to mention the backdrop drop of this movie. The backdrop of this movie is set before World War III. The
Oh, I didn't even
US
forget to mention that.
the
There's a
U
whole
the
subplot of a
the
nuclear war about to
US,
happen.
Russia, North Korea, those are 3 that they mentioned.
Yeah.
Are like and they really don't go into detail about it. It's just happening because there's a scene where Fairchild is like she's auditioning because you see in the movie in the trailer she's a weather person. She's trying to audition for an anchor role and she's saying
Mhm.
all these facts and I'm sitting there thinking I'm like what the fuck is she talking about? Did she just pick up a random skit or
Mhm.
script and start saying things? She's a they sound like it would be interesting. And then we found out like throughout the movie, you know, this is whole thing going on. Like shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
And
Like legit
you
World War III is about to happen.
and you don't really see the gravity of the situation.
At all.
It's one scene where
If
a
that.
bunch of people are at a gas station. And even then, it's not even like, yo, we about to run out of gas. It's like,
Yeah.
man, gas about to be a little high. I need to go fill my car up.
Fill my tank. Like, yeah, I would
Let
say
me fill
like
my tank up before it go high.
the sense of urgency, that's really the only scene where you see like boots on the ground and impact from that plot point. But other than that, I'm not gonna lie, that whole plot point could have went away and this movie's completely unchanged.
That and Wyatt Russell.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm glad you brought Ryan Russell up because I loved and hated his character at the exact same time. I liked him because Wyatt Russell plays Jackson, who's Margaret Fairchild's husband in this movie.
Boyfriend.
Boyfriend, I'm sorry.
He's unmarried.
But yeah, you're right, because there was the whole plot about moving and yeah, we
When
ain't
it
gotta get into
so
all that.
when it
Boyfriend. Yeah.
because the secret super not government agency has so much fucking technology.
Like too much, actually. And so the reason why I loved and hated his character at the same time is because when Margaret Fairchild, when she's going through her whole little, we'll say inner crisis of dealing with these new abilities she
Episodes.
has and rambling and randomly dropping new languages that he knows she doesn't know and randomly being able to say facts about correct and accurate facts about strangers that she's never met. Right. He's looking at her like this girl done lost her goddamn mind,
Yeah,
which is
like,
a natural reaction to
but
all the
is
shit
it
she's doing.
it like
But in
her
the same breath,
knowing the facts, that should be like, yo, what's going
what's
on?
going on? But my thing is like that's kind of like my thing, right? Because it's like on one hand, I understand his reaction to like, hey, this shit is crazy. Like, what's going on with you, girl? Like, this is out of left field. This shit is wild. Like, what's gotten into you? That's a natural reaction. Where he lost me was where he was like, yeah, this girl crazy. Hey, y'all, come pick this shorty up. We had what's it? We at this gas station. We on the
Okay,
corner. I'm
so
like, all right, bro. Like, come on, gang.
I I went to go use the restroom when they're at the gas station, and she told him,
Yeah, he a
you're
snitch.
gonna leave me." She
He's a
said, "You're gonna
snitch.
leave me." So,
Yeah.
when I got back, I see her fucking doing 100 and missing a turn, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay." So, I'm like, "What the fuck happened?" I didn't know he snitched.
He snitched. he
Okay,
snitched.
that's
Yes, and that's
interesting. He
I
looked
was
like seemed like type, though.
I was rocking with his character up until the point he did that. I was like, I can't fuck with you no more because I don't care. Even if my shorty has completely lost it, like if we're in this type of situation where clearly some like whatever. Think about this, yo girlfriend is in a we'll say a interesting situation and some people with some weird badges on claiming to be from a certain agency come up wanting to talk to her and she's freaked out by it and she wants to go. The last thing I'm gonna do is be like, hey, so y'all, here's where we at. You know what I'm saying? Like, I at least want to figure out what's going on here
Right.
before I just start involving because ultimately, yes, what's going on is crazy, but you can't say there's not something here, right? You just watched her give correct facts about strangers. You just watched her speak a completely different language to you that you know she doesn't know. Something weird is going on.
And you know what it was? He was also, like, really jealous. Like, so
Yes.
she's mentioning, O'Connor's na his character's name, Kellner.
He like, who is
Um,
this dude you keep
he's like,
bringing
yeah,
up?
he
Like, what
like,
the
"Is
fuck?
this an old flame or something?"
He
She's
like,
like,
who is
"I don't,"
you done
she's
said
like,
this
"I
man
don't know
name
who
about
this
three
is."
times.
She on the phone talking to people, like, somebody calls her, she on the phone, this nigga like, "Who's that? Who's that? Who's that?" Bro, shut the fuck up. And one thing I hate in movies
Mhm.
is when, and Imma get a little more specific. You got a drug, let's say a drug dealer, and then he got a girlfriend. You know your man sell drugs, and he come home and he say, "Get your bags, we gotta go." What's going on? Shut the fuck up and
Fuck
pack
up.
your bags. Y'all about to die.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
so to your point, these guys show up with these interesting looking badges and they want to talk to y'all, but nobody's talked to y'all yet.
Yeah.
And even the circumstances surrounding them being there
It's weird.
is
Because why are
weird.
they there? There's no reason for law enforcement to be here based on the situation that we currently know.
On
To
top of
just,
that, they
you
were
know?
talking to somebody else the entire time.
Yep.
So, so like he was a bitch. I'm just saying he
Hey,
was
I
a bitch.
mean, accurate
Last thing,
word for him.
last thing we seen him in that he was a bitch was Winter Falcon and Winter
The
Soldier.
soldier, he was a
I
bitch in
guess
that,
he
I ain't
kind of
gonna lie.
redeemed himself a little
He
bit
did, but
in
in
the
that
new
show, he was a
Avengers.
bitch. I ain't gonna lie. In that show, he was a bitch.
Yeah,
I
he
ain't
was a
lying.
bitch.
You ain't lying. I do want to give a few performance shout outs. We talked about Emily Blunt. We talked about Josh O'Connor. Colin Firth is really great as the villain in this. I thought he did a really good job.
You about to say
Coleman
one I don't like.
Domingo. You said what?
I knew you was about to say. I said you about to say one I didn't really care for.
Coleman Domingo has been on a great run. Even if
He
the
is on a
movies
crazy
themselves
run
haven't
though.
been all that
He's
great,
on a crazy
he
run.
stole the show in Running Man. He is by far the best part of Michael, in my opinion.
Stole the show? The Running
Yes,
Man?
he was one of my favorite characters in Running
The
Man.
nigga
Yes,
had like 4 lines, dog.
he was one of my favorite characters in that movie. Yes, every scene he was in was entertaining. You ain't about to tell me it wasn't. Every time Coleman Domingo came on screen in that movie, I was like, "Oh yeah, time to
He
lock
he
in."
his character was entertaining, but I
Yes,
wouldn't say he
yes,
stole the show.
he was one of the best parts of a mid movie.
I
That's
mean, I
stealing the
guess,
show to
like,
me.
the only other person he had to, because we know how I feel about Glenn, Powell. Only other
Yeah.
person he had the, competition was Brolin.
Pretty much. And Josh Brolin was decent, but Coleman Domingo to me was like the most entertaining character in that movie, in my opinion.
I mean,
Um,
yeah, hey, again,
he
we kn
became Joe
mo
Jackson. I don't care what
movies
you
are
say.
movies are subjective,
They are
so
subjective. To me, he became Joe Jackson. That was a strong performance. I don't care what you
Nah,
say on
I
that.
needed him to hit a few more kids.
I mean, you saw who the producers of that movie was. They weren't about to let nothing too crazy get put on screen. He whooped Michael's ass in the first scene, my nigga. Like, what you want him to
First of all,
do?
he whooped that nigga with a belt, and
Oh,
he whooped him on his butt.
you wanted him to grab a switch from a tree or
The
something? Like,
nigga,
you wanted him to get crazy with
the
it?
stories they were telling about Joe Jackson, he was beating those kids' ass. He wasn't giving them whoopings.
Fair enough, but I don't know if they was trying to opening scene just show him wailing on Michael. Like, you know what I'm saying? Keep in mind the tone of that movie. They wasn't you was just trying to
Same
see him
nigga.
backhanded people. Like, he wasn't about to be that, gang. And then in this, he doesn't have a large role in this movie, but his character is very important for the journey
Okay, yeah,
that
yeah.
for the
So
story that's being told and the
I was
journey
gonna
we're on,
say,
his character plays an important role.
I was gonna say he doesn't have a large. I was gonna say he has a large role. He just doesn't have a lot of lines
Yeah,
because,
he
like
has
you
an
said, his
important role.
his
Yeah.
his, his he's very important to everything that's going on. Like he's a conduit of, like I said, from then get everybody getting to point B. He's a
Mhm.
conduit.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I do
So
wanna give a shout out to him. He's been on a great run so far. I feel like that needed to be
before
acknowledged.
you get your next shout out, I want to give a spoiler. Spoiler warning.
No, I'm done with shout outs. I just wanna talk about Call of
Oh,
Duty though.
uh, so okay, well, since you done with shout outs, I want to give a shout out to our Black Queen,
Yeah, like I
Courtney
said, that's the
Grace,
most important shout out.
and
Courtney Grace, yes, sir.
what was the other one?
Gabby
Abby,
Beans,
Gabby Beans.
both
Shout
of
out to our
them.
Black Queens.
Shout out
No,
to our Black
it
queens.
was a few more, but these were the two that had the most screen time.
Yeah.
Gabby Beans probably she had a lot of screen time, but she didn't have a lot of lines. I think she had like one line at the
Yeah,
beginning.
neither
That
one of
was
them
it.
really had a lot
She
of
just popped
lines in
up.
this. Yeah,
Well,
both.
Courtney Grace had a lot of lines at the end because she
Yeah.
was a reporter. But everything, everything. Honestly, I think Jane and Kilner's relationship kind of. I need more information on that. There was no
Yeah,
timeline about how long they've been together, and both of them told some. They didn't lie, but they left out some big information. Like they left
yeah.
out shit where if like I find out, I'm like, yo, you're a liar.
Yeah, like, why did you keep that from me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it wasn't something that was gonna like end the relationship.
Yeah. But honestly,
Um,
a lot of the characters in this movie aren't really fleshed out or given a lot of the only character in this movie that's given depth is Emily Blunt's character and that Margaret Fairchild. That's the only character that they really dive into emotionally and psychologically what she's going through as a result of having all these abilities and not really understanding where they come from or how she got them or how to control them.
you know
Right?
who has a little more depth?
Who?
I forgot his name already. Coleman Domingo's character, and
Yes and no.
he gets it through dialogue though,
Yeah.
through him and Scandalin having a
Yes.
conversation,
Yes.
and again, even their relationship, it doesn't make a bunch of sense
Yeah.
as we know
It's
he's an
really only one
employee,
scene of
but
dialogue though, you know what I'm saying? Like where they
well, I'm
really
saying
give
like
that.
we get all of his motivations. We
I got
get
you.
why
Yes,
he's
yes.
doing what he's doing.
Mhm.
Because before we just found out he's a part of this he's a part of this large conspiracy.
Yeah.
And then when they have that conversation, we're figuring out what happened. So like that goes back to what I was saying, where through dialogue we're finding out what happens, but it kind of feels forced
Mhm.
because why were they having this particular conversation again?
Yeah.
Because the script says so. Because we need to get to point B. We need
Mhm.
everybody at point B, and people are just dumb. I mean, again, we always say like somebody has to be dumb for this movie to move forward. I don't think everybody. I don't think niggas got to be dumb. I
In
think
this movie, it was a few because the script said so moments
I
though, for sure.
it was a lot, and I think sometimes somebody could just be lucky. You don't have to at any moment, they could have had all of those God, there's a scene where a nigga runs up, puts 2 hands on the gate, pulls himself up, and flips over the gate, and you telling me this nigga couldn't couldn't catch Kellner, who's a computer programmer or some shit like that?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
nigga Come on,
Yeah, the math didn't math in
like
some aspects for sure.
if you
It wasn't
lucky,
adding
that's
up.
one thing, but all these niggas got to be dumb.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Overall, there's a lot of positives to take away from this. Obviously, when you're giving a director the caliber of Steven Spielberg a project, and it's a movie involving aliens or just different creatures, that's his bag. Whether it be practical or CGI effects, like he's done well with both. Even though, like I said, there's some CGI with some animals in this movie that's like I ain't even gonna say spotty. It's like actually like bad. I'm not gonna lie. It looks so noticeably bad. But that's like to me the most egregious thing this movie does. But other than that, I think the performances overall are great, even though the performances are kind of having to carry just because I don't think the dialogue or the character depth is as strong in certain scenes. But the performances, just because of the caliber of actors that are in this movie, is enough to make up for it. I thought the adventure and the journey that this film took us through was really fun and enjoyable, even though I think this movie presented a lot of questions and a lot of mysteries that in the moment they hit because you don't know what's going on yet, but the reveal in the payoff for some of those questions isn't as strong in my opinion. That's why I think the first half of this movie is a lot stronger than the second half. But overall, from start to finish, I think this is a really quality project. Steven Spielberg, when you give him any type of creature feature, is going to usually do a good job, and he does a great job with this as well. I just think for me, my expectations for this were through the roof. Like I said, I saw a Spielberg Alien movie coming out in June. Like I said, my first thoughts were Best Picture nominations, and this is not that. I don't think this is going to come close to those type of accolades, but it's still a really quality movie, and it's good to see Steven Spielberg get back to his roots, like the type of films that made him who he is. I'm going to give this one a polite applause.
Okay. I want to give out one more shout out to David Cope who who did the screenplay for this. So him and Spielberg wrote this together.
Yeah,
I don't know who
David
wrote
Cat. Yeah.
more, but they wrote this together. And then I'm pulling up my notes from
Oh, and shout out to John Williams for doing the score at
shout out
94
to
years
John
old. That's
Williams.
crazy. Shout out to John Williams.
All right, so I already said 20 minutes before we figured anything out. It was an hour before we actually got an action scene. But
This is not an action movie though.
But
Yeah.
again, the suspense of the chase or the
Yes.
thrill of the chase
Yes,
is what
that's
the
what it was.
movie is. So
Mhm,
it did that well. I think they did a great job of the concurrent stories
mhm.
of throwing those together. Now they give us more information about O'Connor and Blunt's characters than they do first. We find out, he's just moving. He's all action. We don't find out his backstory until we find out Coleman Domingo's backstory, really. I think all of them did a pretty good job. So like I said, even the side characters and the background characters, they did a very good job of pulling this together because the script kind of falls short in places. Long story short, I gave it a polite applause.
So let us know if y'all have seen Disclosure Day. Has been out for about a week now. I don't know the box office numbers exact. I think it made like 44, 45 million opening weekend, which is not a bad. For Spielberg, you expect a little bit higher, but 44 is not terrible. So let us know if you've seen this. Let us know your thoughts on it. Where would you rank this in terms of Spielberg's catalog? Let's stick with the more recent movies. Obviously, the Mount Rushmore ones are solidified. But as far as the most recent Spielberg movies are, let us know where y'all think this one fits in the list. Always continue to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate all the support. And until next time, this is The Real Junkies. Peace.